Advaita Acharya's appearance day. Now, something I've started to appreciate just this short visit to this area, you're all very well-educated devotees. So I'm going to present some things that are for you elevated devotees. But I found even the youngsters, they're good listeners. You're sitting in the front row because you're a good listener, right? You don't get fidgety, right? We'll see. So here we are. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. To our left, or to their right, there's Vishnu Tattva, Vishnu Tattva, Vishnu Tattva, and then Shakti Tattva and Jiva Tattva. You all know this one. So we're going to hear about, because recently already, Nityananda's appearance day. Yes? Not yet. Not yet. Before coming here, I was in much warmer climate. Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And before that, Alachua. And, so we already had 6 classes just on Nityananda as like a warm-up. So I'm kind of like ahead of myself. Nityananda's appearance day comes later next week. So Advaita Acharya's appearance day. Nityananda is also Vishnu Tattva. He's in the category of Balaram, as the first expansion of Krishna is Balaram, and similarly, the constant companion and associate of Lord Chaitanya is Lord Nityananda. But Advaita Acharya is also Vishnu Tattva, but in a unique position. And I'll try to describe this unique position. Commonly, he's pictured with a little beard. Even if it's in a deity form, they have a nice beard for him. And he, as the elder of these Vaishnavas, he is in the category of Mahavishnu. So this is from Adi Lila. This is the more subtle, little, not so commonly understood detail about Advaita Acharya. That is Upadan and Nimitta, causes of creation. In case you don't know Sanskrit, you'll learn it. Upadan, material cause. By his grace, Advaita Acharya manifests material nature, or Prakriti, which furnishes the raw ingredients. In the process of You came in late, but you're sitting right in the front row. You're a very privileged person. Okay, let's see what happens. You're okay, you're okay, you're okay. I'm not recognizing you. Very enthusiastic. Late, but enthusiastic. Yeah? Okay. Better follow what he says. You probably got a question already. You're the kind of person who listens carefully, you have questions. Yes? Yes. I'm counting on you for a nice question. You're on the hot seat now. Okay. Upadan. That's Advaita Acharya. Upadan. There are these two terms, Nimitta Maya, Upadan Maya. Maya means energy. But Lord Vishnu is not the energy, he's the energetic, but he works through energy. You know, the Lords have energies. So by his desire, Advaitacharya manifests material nature. Now, how does he manifest material nature? Well, first, there's stages of the unfolding of creation, as you learned devotees all know. It starts with the undifferentiated totality of the material energy, known as pradhan. Pradhan. And Mahavishnu glances over pradhan. Do you notice, I'm sure you notice, there's no goddess of fortune pictured with Mahavishnu. And there's a reason for that, because she's not external, she's internal. She's within. She's residing within. He's not alone, he's with his energy, his internal energy. Rama Devi is situated within. And when he desires creation, she, Rama Devi, does two things. This is now more than what's on the screen, but she understands his intention without his having to send her a text message or anything like that. She knows his intention, and it's time for creation. Now, the Lord is timeless. Nonetheless, he, the personality of Godhead, in this case Mahavishnu, he moves with recognition of the material creation, and thus it's not eternal time, it's past, present, and future time. It's a different kind of time. So when it's time for creation, he glances at this pradhan. It's he manifests, it's his energy, he manifests it, but glances over pradhan, and then the living entities and time energy are sent by his glance, or entrusted to his glance. And then other things start to happen. Everything starts to unfold. So that's his function, to serve the original personality of Godhead. Because the original personality of Godhead likes to have pastimes. And as we know, the pastimes of the personality of Godhead, they're eternally existing, but they're temporarily manifest in this material world. So he needs the material world to manifest his wonderful, wonderful, wonderful pastimes. So by his will, Mahavishnu has a will, and she, Rama Devi, she helps him. She's his internal potency. So the ingredients for creation are furnished, and then creation comes into being. Mahavishnu is the original cause, or efficient cause, nimitta cause. So he, Advaita Acharya, is Vishnu and the original cause, the efficient cause and the upadhan cause. Lord Vishnu himself is the efficient nimitta cause of the material world, and Narayana, in the form of Sri Advaita, is the material cause, upadhan. Lord Vishnu, in his efficient aspect, nimitta aspect, glances over the material energy, and Sri Advaita, as the material cause, creates the material world. They're very similar, they're connected. It's a process of creation, but there's different features or aspects or potencies that are being engaged in creation. The efficient and the material cause. It doesn't mean Advaita Acharya is over there in the material energy feature. It's just he's causing the creation. That's a spiritual event and a spiritual cause. But it's the ingredient manifestation. That's Advaita Acharya. Now, going to Chaitanya Bhagavat, Mahaprabhu confirmed in his discussion with Srivas Pandit that Advaita Acharya's position is both the super soul, or Mahavishnu, and the material cause, Upadan, for all ingredients of creation. Now, that's a contradiction. You've noticed it, because you're all very intelligent. Did you catch it? Let's go back. Here it's saying Lord Vishnu is the efficient and Advaita is the Upadan cause. Got it? Now here, from Chaitanya Bhagavat, Advaita Acharya's position is both the super soul and the material cause, Upadan, of all ingredients for creation. So, Chaitanya Bhagavat isn't disagreeing with Chaitanya Charitamrita, or the two authors aren't disagreeing with each other. But simultaneously, the super soul, because what does the super soul do? He oversees Upadrashta and Anumanta. That's what he does. This is a very old painting, a British occupancy period, depicting Shantipur. And many of you have been to Shantipur probably, and many of you will go to Shantipur, and now you can see an old painting by the side of the river Ganges. The main structure is that structure on the left side, and then there's smaller structures. So here's the main structure. This is the temple of Advaita Acharya. And inside, here's the nice deities, Madan, Gopal. And then you see in the front, there's this nice Shalagram Shila. The celebrated Shalagram Shila that he worshipped to call Lord Chaitanya to appear. That one. And here's Gopal, and there's the Shalagram Shila close up. They don't mind photographs. We can take nice photographs. They're a few rupees and they'll let you take photographs. And over here is a place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Advaita Acharya would sometimes meet. And Nityananda would sit also. As you can see in the painting on the wall, sometimes the three Prabhus would come together. And this is where they would sit. So they built a structure where they would sit underneath a tree, but now there's a structure there, indicating their sitting place, a sacred sitting place. And this is a murti of Advaita Acharya in this Benedictine mudra. And it's same, but it's at colder weather. Benedictine mudra, same. He also spent some time in Vrindavan, Advaita Acharya. And it is underneath this tree, Advaita Vat, is where a deity was found. And that deity ended up being worshipped. So underneath this banyan tree, here's an indication of where that deity was found, and the footprints of Advaita Acharya in stone, obviously not his actual footprint size. Here's the marks on the soul of Advaita Acharya. Barley corn and chakra and conch shell and a fish and so forth. And there he is, Advaita Acharya in the Panchatattva feature. Maybe one of the most celebrated events in Advaita Acharya's life was the calling for the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because, very similar to Bhaktivinoda Thakur praying for a ray of Vishnu, because he was trying to influence the people of his time, and it was difficult. So he requested Lord Vishnu to send his representative, a ray of Vishnu, to deliver people. And that came. He came, Bhaktisiddhanta. In this case, Advaita Acharya, elder, senior, and meeting, well, Bengal at his time was not so strongly Vaishnava-like. A lot of worship of this Devi and that Deva and so forth. And it had a lot of enthusiasm for all of that, but not the same enthusiasm for Vishnu Bhakti. So Advaita Acharya, wanted very much that a form of the Lord would appear. Now he's perfectly knowledgeable. He's Vishnu Tattva, past, present, and future, in full within his palm. But so as an elder personality, he very much wanted this appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and to inspire that event, he Advaita Acharya, received Diksha from Madhavendra Puri. This is a celebrated painting. This is Madhavendra Puri getting his pot of milk from Gopal. And later, because he was a Parivrajaka, one of the places he visited was Shantipur. And this is a place where it was a nice photograph or a painting of Madhavendra Puri. He gave Diksha to Advaita Acharya. So it gives you some idea of, the chronology of things and the importance of Advaita Acharya directly receiving Diksha from Madhavendra Puri. Such an exalted personality. Madhavendra Puri was such an exalted personality that he in the line of Madhvacharya, he was a revolutionary. I mean, he didn't break from Madhvacharya or from Lord Brahma and Madhvacharya, but the strictness and moving from the strictness to the spontaneous is a gift that came from Madhavendra Puri. Now, what does that mean, spontaneous? Madhavendra Puri, had developed this practice of experiencing love and separation as the gopis feel love and separation from Krishna. And he would repeat again and again and again a certain phrase. So bewildering, different from the followers of Madhvacharya, that one of his disciples criticized him, like, what are you doing? And, the history, he said to this disciple, please go away, I don't want to see your face. If I die seeing your face, who knows what my destination will be. Find a place you want to go and go there, please. I don't want to see you again. Whoa. An offender. And in contrast, there was Ishwar Puri that received that same mood from Madhavendra Puri and passed that same mood on to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But the one who started this transformation of the Madhvacharya line was Madhavendra Puri. And he passed the same on to Advaita Acharya. We'll hear as we go along. Advaita Acharya was something of a madman. There's the photograph of the painting of Madhavendra Puri. And down below is Advaita Acharya, who became his disciple. One exalted Vaishnava that also came to visit Advaita Acharya in Shantipur was Haridas Thakur. And Haridas Thakur was treated with great respect, the greatest of respect, by Advaita Acharya. Now, I just spend a little bit of time on that one. Haridas Thakur was honored by the Vaishnavas, particularly the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Haridas Thakur was so much of a lover of the chanting of the holy name. Haridas Thakur, was in a transcendental position. He demonstrated by his activities long ago. But he was rejected by the Muslims in the line in which he was born, and not so much accepted by Vaishnavas either, other than the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And during this time, like sprinkle some water on someone's head and they become a Muslim from their water pot. Haridas, it was a social no-no what Advaita Acharya did. But Advaita Acharya, wanted to honor him as the most exalted person as part of the practice or culture on the occasion of one's departed family member, in this case his father. He wanted the first Vishnu Prasad to be taken by Haridas Thakur, indicating he is the most exalted person in our assembly. Now that was a social no-no. You know what social no-nos are. You just don't do those things. And he not only did those things, it was a big public event. And he honored Haridas Thakur in that way. During that same time that Haridas Thakur received the Shraddha of Advaita Acharya, there was a similar event that happened when Haridas Thakur was there. He treated Raghunath Das Goswami with such respect that later that respect that came from Haridas Thakur to Raghunath Das Goswami, that entitled him, that was the beginning of his superlative spiritual life. So it's descending. Get mercy. Somehow get mercy. Somehow. In Gautamiya Tantra, this is a nice reference when Advaita Acharya was wondering, and anxiety, how the Vishnu Bhakti can be propagated. He was praying, and then he remembered, because he was a accomplished Vaishnava scholar, he knew of this verse from Gautamiya Tantra that's found in Hari Bhakti Vilas, and that is a prayer that is recited by some Vaishnavas. Krishna is very affectionate towards his devotees, and he sells himself to a devotee who offers merely a tulsi leaf and a palm full of water. So by the side of the river Ganges, he was propitiating Krishna to appear. And that's what he did. So he not only a palm full of water, but Ganges water, and not only a tulsi, but tulsi manjaris, and a tusta tulsi, there's a leaf, tulsi leaf, and palmfuls of water, propitiating Krishna for his mercy. And he sells himself to that devotee. So Krishna, in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there's a nice discussion somewhere where Advaita Acharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I was sleeping in Yoga Nidra in the spiritual sky, and I heard this loud calling. So he woke me up from Yoga Nidra, and I came because he was petitioning me to come. So here I am. because of him, Advaita Charya. That was later in their life. I was in my mystic sleep in the ocean of milk when I was woken up by the loud calling of Nada, Sri Advaita. My present incarnation is mainly due to him, Chaitanya Bhagavat. So he gets the credit or the blame. We'll say he gets the credit for very simple act with full devotion and with a prayerful calling loudly, this appeal to the personality of God to appear. He arranged his appearance. The Bhaktivinoda Thakur he's adjusting his halo now. Is it a good fit? Good. In Sajjana Toshini, this is a periodical by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he explains the meaning of the word nada. It's nice. Sriman Mahaprabhu often addressed Srila Advaita Acharya as nada. Some Vaishnava scholar has said that the word Nara refers to Mahavishnu because Nara, the total aggregate of all living entities, is situated within him. So the vocative it becomes Nara. Nara becomes Nara. People in Radhadesh you often use da in place of ra. And is this the reason that the word nara has become written as nada? This meaning is often applicable. The word nara or nara or nada is explained by Sridhar Swami in his Bhavarti Dipika commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.14 as follows. The word nara refers to the aggregate of living entities, and the word ayana refers to the shelter. You are Narayana himself because you are the supreme shelter of all embodied souls. So this is Lord Brahma offering his prayers, chapter 14 of Canto 10, to Krishna, and as he uses this nomenclature, so Bhaktivinoda Thakur is borrowing from his nomenclature to indicate the same. The shelter of all beings is Mahavishnu. Of course, the shelter of all beings, Mahavishnu, has his source, and that's Krishna, who is also the shelter of all beings through his expansion, Mahavishnu. So calling and calling and calling on the full moon night, and the certain appearance of this, the personality of God had made his appearance. I was in, just a little sharing, one time we had a GBC meeting in Mayapur during the full moon night of Mahaprabhu's appearance. And I want to share with you what that was like. It was wild. Meaning, where the people came from, God only knows. There are thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people wanting to take bath in the Ganges at the same time. It was dangerous. I sprinkled some water in my head and ran because it was the pushing of crowds. And you get pushed in, get further pushed in, and who knows what's going to happen. So I wasn't afraid, but I was being careful. But it was a wild scene with, chanting, Haribo, Haribo. It's big, on this big, they didn't need broadcast system. They were just very loud. And tens of thousands of people. Probably Kumbh Mela is like that too. Maybe some of you have been to Kumbh Mela. But this is at night. And so when the full moon night is there, and it's at the right time of the Lord's appearance, all the Bengalis came and chanted very loudly, indicating or hailing the appearance of the personality of Godhead, because not there at the Ganges, but in the house of Jagannath Mishra and Mother Sachi, Lord Chaitanya made his appearance. And after the son was born, this is a nice painting where Sita, who is the wife of Advaita Acharya, she came from Shantipur to Navadvip to make gifts to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And as the painting is, there's many others that also came to give gifts. That's a tradition at the time of the birth of a child. But she, Sita, is understanding like Advaita Acharya is understanding. This is the personality of Godhead. Krishna himself, as Advaita Acharya also understood. And so Advaita Acharya and Sita made very close, affectionate friendship with the father and mother of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And a little detail, when it was time, and this is in Gaura's Leela, in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, there was a pastime where he started the Sankirtan activities. We're just going to stop and offer respects to the deities. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. During the early part of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, you all know these things. He played the role of a teacher, young Brahmin teacher of Vyakarana, Sanskrit grammar. And he was like a superlative teacher, and so he had many, many, many students. And at a certain point in time, on the pretext of offering Shraddha to his deceased father, Jagannath Mishra, he went to Gaya, and there he saw the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, and then there he also happened to see his initiating guru, Ishwara Puri. Ishwara Puri gave him Diksha, and when he came back down to Mayapur, he was a different person. He was no longer a wrangling smarta, like, scholar. He was transformed. And when he began his Sankirtan activities, one of the places was not in the public street, but in the house of Srivas Pandit. And in the house of Srivas Pandit didn't mean like a house. Many of you have been there. So a big gate and a wall around, and a multiple family residential facility with lots and lots of people, their extended family members living there. And then every evening, they'd lock the gate, and only Vaishnavas could come, and then they'd have kirtan. And then the pastime. One particular evening, Mahaprabhu wasn't just a devotee, he took the position of Vishnu. And he went straight to the altar and sat on the throne of Vishnu and said, "Worship me." And they worshipped him. They went to the Ganges and got water and performed Abhishek like you all did. And then this and that and the other thing and the other thing. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, performed another wonderful pastime where he called the devotees one by name, and disclosed something about their previous life that nobody knew. One of those confidential, nobody knows stories about your life. And they were astonished. They all understood. He's not just a nice, wonderful Vaishnav. He's the personality of Godhead. He was revealing his divinity to all these devotees. Not in the front row, please. Okay. So it was time to call Advaitacharya. Advaitacharya was hiding because he wanted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to disclose several things. One, his divinity. So Advaitacharya was hiding. But, he can't hide from the personality of Godhead, so he knew where he was. He was hiding in the home of Nandanacharya. And in the home of Nandanacharya, Lord Chaitanya sent Ramai Pandit to bring Advaitacharya. When he brought Advaitacharya, Advaitacharya started rolling on the ground like a madman, rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling. And Lord Chaitanya understood when he went. Advaitacharya began to dance in the mood of a gopi. As the devotees continued to happily perform kirtan, he continued dancing for a long time. Eventually, the devotees somehow pacified him and then sat down around him. Advaitacharya began to repeatedly roll in ecstasy on the ground within Shiva's courtyard. Advaitacharya's distress was understood by Lord Chaitanya. He didn't say it, but he wanted something. That was part of the reason for hiding. He wanted to see his universal form. So Lord Chaitanya revealed his universal form right there in Srivas Thakur's courtyard. And he was satisfied. Not like he had some doubt. He's omniscient, but he wanted to see that form. So he showed his universal form and worshipped Lord Chaitanya, which is what he wanted to do all along. Waiting for the second there. The first one is gentle. The second one is not. Advaitacharya had more than one residential place. One of those residential places was very near Shantipur, but another one was very near to Srivas Pandit's home. And when he stayed, there's a structure, at least today, that marks where his home was, Advaita Bhavan. And there he would give morning Bhagavatam class. And daily, he would give a morning Bhagavatam class. And one of the students that came to attend his daily morning class was Nimai Pandit's elder brother, Vishwarup. And he really liked the Advaitacharya's Bhagavatam classes, so much so that his mother was in big anxiety. Mother Sachi sent little Nimai to go fetch him, grab him by the dhoti and drag him back home so he could have his breakfast. When Nimai was only 6 years old, Vishwarupa left home to take sannyas. And Mother Sachi was beside herself with anxiety. Not just beside herself with anxiety, but she began to speak ill about Advaita Acharya. Don't do that. You don't speak ill about any Vaishnava, what to speak of Advaita Acharya. So she had made an offense at the lotus feet of Advaita Acharya. And that's one of the mandates that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made when Advaita Acharya was rolling on the ground and doing this other service. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, ordered that Sachi fall at his feet and beg his forgiveness. When he gave his forgiveness, then he said, now you're going to be able to make your way to the spiritual world very easily. But never again offend Advaita Acharya. And, it's a lesson in various ways. Mahaprabhu, it's not new to any of us, but it was very pointed. His mother was going to stay in the material world because of her offense to Advaita Acharya. And by offering obeisances and falling at his feet like that, her path back to Godhead was cleared. At least in this, discussion. Advaita Acharya had 6 sons. 3 of the 6 were nice Vaishnavas, and the other 3 of the 6, they weren't nice Vaishnavas. They didn't recognize Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And of the 3 that were Vaishnavas, Achyutananda was the eldest. And there's this nice discussion where the 2 groups are compared to wheat and chaff. So once the kernel of wheat is removed, what's left is chaff, like straw. And there's no use of the straw, you just burn it. But the thing that's wanted is the grain that comes from the wheat. So these 3 and 3 were like wheat and chaff. Moving forward, just to focus on Advaita Acharya, during the Gundicha Marjana pastime in Jagannath Puri, one of the sons of Advaita Acharya danced in front of the Lord with great love and happiness. When Gopal suddenly fell unconscious, Advaita became very anxious and took his inert body in his lap, chanting the Nrsimha mantra. Despite various mantras that Advaita uttered, Gopal did not return to consciousness. All the devotees began to cry for him, but Mahaprabhu, who takes away the distress of his devotees, just touched Gopal over his heart and said, "Get up, Gopal. Chant. Hari, Hari." Just like that, and immediately got up and said, "Hari, Hari." So Advaita Acharya was very relieved. Of course, it's a transcendental pastime, and they all understood. At least Advaita Acharya and Mahaprabhu understood what was going on. There's a little boy. Then there's an occasion where they had prasadam. We saw that place in Shantipur where they took prasadam right after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's sannyas. There was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to go to Vrindavan, and you know what happened. Lord Nityananda tricked him. Go that way, and to Shantipur. And the purpose was to associate with Advaita Acharya and to invite Mother Sachi. A messenger was sent. Now you can come see your son after he's taken sannyas. So they had this nice gathering, and you see from the painting Lord Nityananda was behaving like a madman. He threw rice on the ground. He would eat some and throw it on the ground. And in one occasion, some of the rice that he threw on the ground bounced, and it hit the leg of Advaita, who started dancing in ecstasy. It's a very detailed pastime, but it's the transcendental madness or transcendental loving dealings between Advaita and Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya. Then Mother Sachi came and she made this appeal to her son, now with a shaved head, because previously he looked a little different before his shaved head. And she made this request that don't go so far away. I know you want to go to Vrindavan. You know the history. You want to go to Vrindavan. I know you want to be with Krishna in Vrindavan. But if you go to Vrindavan, I may never see you again. So don't go so far away. From Bengal, the devotees go every year to Jagannath Puri for Rath Yatra. Go to Puri. Krishna's in Puri. So go to Puri. And then the 4 months of the season when the devotees from Bengal go, at least I can get word of you. So he consented to his mother's. That was an external lila, and there's an internal lila. The internal lila is, as you know, in Puri, there's this mood that Mahaprabhu entered into, seeing the opulence of Lord Jagannath as in Dwarka, feeling the separation from, as the gopis felt, separation from Krishna in Vrindavan. He was always wanting to bring Krishna to Vrindavan. So the Gundicha pastime was very important for him. And then he went back to the temple. And then in ecstasies of madness, experiencing transcendental madness, so that's Puri, a place where such transcendental emotions were experienced. Here's a photograph of Narendra Sarovar, a celebrated place where water from Narendra Sarovar was brought to the Gundicha temple. And when they would, after their days and days and days of cleansing the temple, Dvaitacharya would lie down and Mahaprabhu would lie on him, as in the personality of Godhead being carried by Anantashesha or Shesha Shayi Vishnu, a pastime. Now, they understood, who else understood, who can say, but that was a very nice pastime. Now, there was a servant. It's another nice pastime. Advaitacharya had sons. He also had a servant. And the servant was Kamalakanta Vishwas. And it's a reasonably long section in Adi Lila. One time, Paramananda Puri was going from Mayapur to go visit Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Paramananda Puri was a godbrother of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They were both initiated by Ishwar Puri. So he was going to Jagannath Puri after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned from his South India tour. Then, in a letter to Prataparudra, the king, he made this request. Kamalakanta Vishwas made this request. Please excuse Advaitacharya of some 300 rupee debt to the king. 300 rupees. From today on, I do not allow that Balya Kamalakanta Vishwas to come here. When Lord Chaitanya heard that he made this request to excuse Advaitacharya of a debt to the king, I don't want to see this offender. That's pretty severe. And seeing Kamalakanta Vishwas unhappy, Advaitacharya told him, his servant, you are greatly fortunate to have been punished by the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, In many exchanges, punishment, Lord Nityananda kicking Shivananda Sain in the chest because he was late for prasadam one evening. And the wife of Shivananda Sain started crying. And the devotee said, "You have no idea how fortunate," her husband said, "You have no idea how fortunate I am to receive the mercy of Lord Nityananda kicking me in the chest." So mercy may come in different ways. Now maybe you're not Kamalakanta Vishwas, or maybe you're not Shivananda Sain, or maybe you're just an ordinary Prabhu. But sometimes difficulty comes your way. And sometimes the difficulty that comes your way can be some direct mercy from the personality of Godhead. And it may not look like it. It may look like the opposite. But leave that on your option list when you consider difficulties that come your way. Some opportunity for you, through apparent punishment, to receive mercy. Here's another section, just 2 verses. Formerly, Chaitanya respected Advaitacharya as his spiritual master. But the Advaitacharya was greatly aggrieved by such behavior. I therefore expounded Yoga Vashishta. It's Yoga Vashishta is atheism, which considers liberation the ultimate goal of life. For this, the Lord became angry at me and treated me with apparent disrespect. This was, message to Kamalakanta Vishwas. Be happy. Look what I had to do just to get chastised. Another. Sri Advaita Acharya had the desire to feed Mahaprabhu alone to his heart's satisfaction. And suddenly, by the arrangement of providence, the sannyasis who usually ate with the Lord were separated from him. Thus, Mahaprabhu went alone to the house of Advaitacharya and fulfilled his desire. Because it was raining, since Indra assisted Advaitacharya in his discharge of devotional service to Krishna by sending a storm and rain, Advaitacharya began to offer Indra prayers, considering him a servant of Krishna. Understanding Advaitacharya's heart, Mahaprabhu glorified Advaita by saying that it was not at all astonishing that Indra would follow the order of one whose resolution even Lord Krishna was bound to fulfill. Now there these transcendental dealings amongst these elevated Vaishnavas they're nice stories. They're certainly nice stories. But to deeply appreciate and understand the profound implications, it's nice. It's a nice meditation. I'm just recommending. Besides, get the storyline so I can repeat the storyline, but understand the loving exchange that's going on. There's where real taste, real happiness resides. Here's that description. Krishna himself fulfills your desires, so what is unusual about Indra carrying out your orders? This is Advaitacharya's wife bringing the meal for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he's sitting there alone, just exactly as Advaitacharya wanted. Mahaprabhu was indicating, just see, you had this desire, Indra reciprocated. So another painting, this is in Jagannath Puri or in Navadvip, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing and dancing and dancing. There's Nityananda, there's Advaitacharya, and the other associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we're getting ready to conclude his pastimes. There was one Brahmana who was not well. Kavi Karnapur writes, Chaitanya Chandrodaya, a fallen Brahmana of all sinless persons in the universes and of all devotees full of love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Advaita Acharya is the best. If you drink water that has washed his feet, then this sickness caused by sin, its cause removed, will go far away. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advising a Brahmana how to get rid of an illness that was very severe. And try this and try that, nothing went away. Drink water from Advaita Acharya's feet. So if you get some of the Abhishek water, you're in good shape. Again, another section of Kavi Karnapur's book, Advaita. What more can you do to please me? Lord, you have revealed the most confidential pastimes of Lord Krishna. You have crushed the age of Kali. And you have described the secret meanings of devotional service and pure love of Krishna. You have brought all auspiciousness to the devotees, expert in relishing the mellows of transcendental pastimes. You have openly revealed the ecstatic, pure devotional love felt by Radha, the crest jewel of all the gopis. I have one request. I think material piety, economic development, and sense gratification worthless and insignificant. I don't want impersonal liberation. I only want that in the next life I may have the association of your devotees. This is Advaita to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replies, so be it. I will go to Vrindavan, and there I will accept you as my associates, plural. And with my sweet pastimes, I will fill your hearts with bliss. To you who have faith in Vrindavan, I will give splendid spiritual forms like my own. That is what I will do for you. Those of you whose hearts are bound to me in this form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even if your rajas are friendship or servitude to Shri Radha Madhava or Lord Dwarkadish, or if your rasas are friendship or servitude to any of my other incarnations, I will make you go into my eternally liberated associates in Goloka Vrindavan. The doors open. Now, soon his pastimes, the Lord said, so be it. Now, it came time for Lord Chaitanya's pastimes to end. Advaita Acharya is the one who invited him. Advaita Acharya is the one who signaled his time for departure. And he did it by way of Jagatananda Pandit, who was a resident of Puri, who would sometimes go visit in Vrindavan and sometimes go to Shantipur in Mayapur. So after visiting Advaita Acharya in Shantipur, he sent a message with Jagatananda Pandit. And it was a puzzle, but I think you can understand. Please inform Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is acting like a madman, that everyone here has become mad like him. Inform him also that in the marketplace, rice is no longer in demand. Further, tell him that those now mad in ecstatic love are no longer interested in the material world. Also, tell Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that one who has also become a madman in ecstatic love has spoken these words. The message was, you came, you performed the purpose of my requesting you to come. Now you may leave, as you so desire. And so he did. He understood. That's a riddle, but he understood the riddle. And his method, Lord Chaitanya's method of departure was very interesting. And soon we'll be observing the Nityananda's appearance day and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance day, and I'll be off somewhere else doing the same. So let's see if anybody, how are we doing with our time? 2:35. Any comments or questions? An abrupt ending.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Such an amazing class. Please help me understand the statement which appears as a little bewildering. What Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, that I was in Yoga Nidra in the ocean of milk. We always understand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Radha and Krishna.
Yeah.
In fact, Advaita Acarya is the one who is Mahavishnu, whose expansion is Sirodakshaya Vishnu.
Yeah.
So could you help us understand this, Maharaj?
Well, you know the answer. You're a learned Vaishnava. Although that is also the case. Although he's here, he's everywhere by his expansions. And so he's indicating not that I was the personality of Godhead in Goloka Vrindavan, engaging in eternal Sankirtan pastimes in Svetadweep, but you invoked because you were calling Lord Vishnu to come. So I responded, here I am. You woke me up from Yoga Nidra. So it's his expansion, and thus first person singular, but it's his expansion. No, like super soul, Krishna is within the heart of every living entity, but it's super soul. More technically, more specifically. Okay? Like that.
Thank you, Maharaj.
You're on the hot seat. Really? We'll come back to you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much. Very deep class. My question is, Sri Advaita Acharya is considered a combined form of Lord Shiva and Mahavishnu. So can you please explain that point? Like, what is the meaning of combined form of two different personalities?
There are probably multiple answers to that. One answer that comes to mind is maybe not the best one, but the glance of Mahavishnu is Sadashiva. And in that sense, the glance of Mahavishnu is not different than Mahavishnu. And that feature of Lord Shiva is, one of his features. So that's probably not the best answer. But it's a nice question. So how about this? I'll make you a deal. I'll research, you research, we'll compare notes later today or tomorrow or something. You'll see if you get a clear, a better answer than that one.
Wait for your answer, Maharaj.
But you're a good researcher. The Shastras have the answer. We don't. Either of us know. But the Shastras and our Acharyas. Okay?
Sure, Maharaj.
Wait a minute. Right here.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, thank you, Maharaj. So at one point he was teaching impersonal philosophy, so that Advaita
Vashishta Advaita, yeah.
was system. So that may be like Shiva, Adi Shankara,
Yeah.
so that category. That is my understanding.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yoga Vashishta.
Maharaj, thank you so much for virtually taking us to Shantipur and actually experience these wonderful pastimes in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. I personally like the slide, just second last slide, where you mentioned Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually telling Advaita Acharya, even if someone has even attachment to any of my other form, I'll actually allow him or her to come to Golok Vrindavan, which was really fantastic.
Yeah.
I had a question on the last slide, Maharaj, where Sri Advaita Acharya is sending cryptic message to Lord Chaitanya that it's time for winding up these pastimes. I was just thinking about when we see Sri Ram's Leela, when Lord departed, the whole Ayodhya was transported back to spiritual world of Ayodhya.
Almost.
Interesting. Can we also consider Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime, which just happened around 500 years ago, when Advaita Acharya is telling that everyone is mad, can we consider everyone went back to
No.
spiritual? Oh, okay.
That's not, you know the history.
Like Advaita Acharya.
Raghunath Das Goswami and Advaita Acharya, etc. They remain behind. It's not, the Leela isn't, the same. Krishna's Leela is not the same. Many, but not everyone. Many. The Socius in Dwarka, yes. But he had many other devotees elsewhere, all over. Okay?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the class. It was kind of striking to me at the part where you were speaking that Advaita Acharya was dancing in Gopi Bhav, and I found that interesting. And then the last slide as well, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Vrindavan is open to everyone, or it was Advaita Acharya who said that. But I was wondering, if that's the case, does that mean that Advaita Acharya has a particular form in Vrindavan, and do we know who that is?
I don't know if he had a particular form in Vrindavan, and I don't know what it is. He, Advaita Acharya, became influenced by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who became influenced by, we could say, at least in Leela, by Ishwar Puri and Madhavendra Puri in succession. So he, Advaita Acharya, became infected or affected by that mood. So he was dancing in that mood. Now, you're asking another question. I'm on top of that, on top of that statement or description in Chaitanya Charitamrita. I don't know of any scriptural reference that says, addresses that question. You get the last question.
Just had another clarity from that perspective.
Which one?
The answer which you just now gave about the identity, he was so much impacted by association of Lord Chaitanya.
Yeah. And others.
This is very insightful, Maharaj. When we see in Srimad Bhagavatam, when we talked about the king who was cursed to be a crocodile, and when he was relieved, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, he went back to Godhead. Though he did not come from Godhead, he was in heavenly planets and he came from there. But by the association of just his devotees, he could attain that Vaikuntha form. Same way, there are other incidents as well in Srimad Bhagavatam. When we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, such a magnanimous personality, even those devotees, like in this case Advaita Acharya, but I'm just thinking wide here, anybody who would come in his association, wouldn't his mood be impacted, "Oh, I want to go to Golok Vrindavan rather than being in different
Now,
bhav."
whether it go to enter Goloka Vrindavan or not, come to the stage of love for the personality of Godhead. And that's the eligibility for back to Godhead. But just recently, in the course of my reading Bhakti Sandarbha, I came across a nice section where it's different but similar to what you're saying. It's through, there was a mouse. Jiva Goswami is referring to a reference from Vishnu Dharma where a mouse was drinking ghee from a ghee lamp on the altar. And while drinking ghee from the ghee lamp on the altar, his body burnt up and he died. And that mouse in his next life became a queen. You know the story. So when he became a queen, the queen had this natural affinity for offering ghee lamps to the deity. She offered ghee lamps to the deity till the end of her life, and she went back to Godhead. So that's the power of bhakti. It's not your question or your comment, it's more specifically the power of one who is imbued with ecstatic love for Godhead. But it's the same principle, the bhakti principle in an ecstatic state. Then one could assume, or one can understand, that that's very impactful. But and how it gets measured depend. Different persons have a receiving capacity that differs from one another. And those who are offenders, it gets blocked. Bhakti becomes blocked. But those that are not offenders, its impact is going to manifest in different ways, not necessarily a return to Goloka Vrindavan. After Advaita Acharya's pastime is concluded, I don't know of a reference that says he went to Goloka Vrindavan. Now, his question is, what did he have a spiritual form, and where was that spiritual form residing? There's no scripture, but he's Mahavishnu. That's his function. And so may he return to the platform of resuming, or the from whom he expanded, resume that position again. That's an assumption, because that's who he is.
In that case, if you take an example about Brahmaji, who appeared as Haridas Thakur, and he's a Nama Acharya now.
So what happened to Brahma? That's your question?
I'm sure he did not go back to Brahma's position like he did before, but
what does it mean? Be really careful, please. What does it mean, an incarnation of? What does it mean, for example, what does it mean when a particular Vaishnava is multiple personalities within? What does that mean? Does it mean like there's 3 jivas inside that soul, that body? It's bhava expansion. Be careful. Yeah, you get the last question. I hope it's a good one.
Rather than a question, I have some clarification to ask, or because we are discussing about, what was asked of Advaita Acharya's, where he went or form in Golok Vrindavan. When Krishna in Dwarka, there were 8 sons of a Brahman dies, and then it is actually captured by Mahavishnu, and Krishna comes to know that all the sons are with Mahavishnu, and then Mahavishnu says, okay, I wanted to take your darshan, I really couldn't take, so that's why I did this and I know that you would come. So is that something like that, Mahavishnu and Lord Sadashiva's incarnation acting in Chaitanya Leela to become participant into Mahaprabhu's Leela or be part of that, and then he has already his position as Mahavishnu and Sadashiv. He would kind of resume that don't need to go to all of them. They don't need to go to Goloka Vrindavan in enacting the Leela with Krishna. Is there some relevance here, like Mahavishnu wanted to take part in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela based on the having darshan, Krishna's darshan in Krishna Leela?
Well, not based upon, because chronologically it doesn't follow. You understand my chronological response? The Krishna Leela took place much prior, so it's not chronologically as a result that Mahavishnu stole the 8 sons, and it just he wanted darshan.
My point was he wanted to have Krishna's darshan, so he did that.
Yeah.
And so somehow Mahavishnu also wanted to have a part in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. That's why he kind of induced Krishna to come or he took appearance as Advaita Acharya.
If you can find a scriptural reference that says that, I'll dance.
It's speculation, obviously. Thank you, Maharaj.
Srila Prabhupada. Yay! Here he goes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance. After hearing all this discussion, there is one confusion which I am having. Specifically, we say the original position Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a combined incarnation of Srimati Radharani and Krishna, and Advaita Acharya is an incarnation of Mahavishnu. When we say Mahavishnu, technically what my understanding is, he is an incarnation coming from Krishna. Like,
Yes.
he's a one personality with Krishna.
An expansion.
An
One of his-
expansion.
one of his expansions. And in fact, go ahead. Expansion. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's an expansion. But technically, they are one personality.
Yeah.
So when we see this Leela and Mahavishnu wanted to take darshan of Krishna or Acharya, he,
Just see what you started.
as Advaita Acharya being, calling Krishna to the planet. But Advaita Acharya is technically Krishna himself. So what is this paradox?
The expansion is technically different. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Achintya Beta Beta Tattva philosophy. Well done. So you understand. So simultaneously, but one and different. Simultaneously, one and different. So that the paradox is resolved. Simultaneously, one and different. You haven't. You understand? You think so?
It's like they are same tattva but different personalities.
No, it's an expansion is from, and so a subset of the whole is the expansion. So within the expansion is a subset of the origin, but it's not the complete one-to-one correspondence. They're the same tattva, Vishnu tattva, not Krishna tattva, Vishnu tattva. So in that sense, the same category. In that sense, the same. It's like saying Krishna is within your heart. It's not wrong. But it's not the same as Bhagavan, it's Paramatma. So it's a different aspect of. Similarly, is that okay?
Yes, Maharaj.
Mahavishnu is same but different.
Thank you.
And there could be, affection and relationship and exchanges and like this, desire to see Krishna because he's not Krishna, but he is Krishna, but he's not Krishna, but he is Krishna.
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, we'll end. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.